Hounds. Once again, you are sitting down with greatness. We have another profound, lovely voice joining us here in the House of Hounds, the hallowed halls of the House of Hounds. We have a new member of the Honkai Star Rail team, Whitney Holland. They are the voice of Lingsha. You love her, and now it's time to get to know her. How are you?
I'm great. Your intros are amazing. Those just make me so happy.
Thank you very, very much. You guys deserve it.
Oh, we appreciate it. We appreciate when our work is enjoyed by many. It's the greatest blessing of all.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for joining. You were very awesome to communicate with and work with, and I'm so excited to sit down with you. These characters, they mean a lot to us, on such like a deeper level. So you guys being able to share, your experience and let us, peek behind the curtain a little bit to know a little bit more about you is an opportunity that I relish. So thank you so very much.
Totally.
So let's get into it. How did you get started in voice acting or acting in general?
Yeah, it does start with acting. I was a shy child in a not very arts robust town. I was homeschooled as well, but I had friends that joined a local theater group and started performing in plays and musicals. Something possessed me. I still don't know what it is to this day. Again, I was shy, couldn't talk to my own grandma sort of kid.
Okay.
But I decided to audition for a musical. I don't know why, but I didn't even get in the first time. Didn't get in the second time. Finally got in on the third try. So again, I even faced opposition and kept going. And was in Oliver, the musical, a classic. And I continued doing community theater at the children's level and then adult level. And then I decided to go to school for it. So I went to the University of Idaho, which you wouldn't think has a star acting program. But it was really incredible. It was very much about living the experience yourself, very Stanislavski method. And speaking of Stanislavski, I got the chance to study acting in Russia, visit the stomping grounds of Stanislavski, who's a great acting teacher.
Okay.
And this was many years ago, not in the middle of wartime. And then I came back home and I worked at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which is a world-renowned festival in Oregon. And was in a Shakespeare show there. But I was part of their company in 2020. So we rehearsed,
time.
we opened, and we closed. And so that came to an abrupt halt. My whole career, I'd just gotten out of college, was learning a lot, putting all of my skills to use finally, and then it just all went away. So I eventually moved back to my hometown, and once again, something just moved me to do something I'd never looked into before, and I found Jennifer Hale's website. Do you know the renowned Jennifer Hale, voice actress extraordinaire? She has a website called Skills Hub where you can work with casting directors and other actors and stuff just to build your skills. And I had originally fallen in love with video games as a kid with my dad, and I thought, you know what? I think my whole desire for acting, which moved me towards the stage, actually was rooted in the storytelling that I observed and got to take part in by playing video games. So I got to train with Chris Borders, was one of my very first coaches, who did Mass Effect and Dragon Age and stuff like Gears of War.
That's awesome.
And then from there, I've just been continuing to learn and practicing and learning the genre of games. It's a slightly different world than theater. And then Honkai brought me on, and that was an absolute blast. And so I really loved playing Lingsha.
That is
awesome. I think that's most of it. There you go. You got the full story. The full story.
Well, listen, I'm here for it. I love when we get a deep dive into the lore about the person behind the character. And there's a couple of things I wanted to, pick apart there.
Yeah.
So I am an introvert, right? But I wear the mask of an extrovert, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that acting allowed you to say, okay, I'm stepping out of myself and into someone else so I can be more open and say, okay, this Whitney is kind of taking a chill right now, but the character I'm playing, we're here, we're open, we're robust, we're very forward with our emotions.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of actors will talk about, like I got to stop being me for a while and be somebody else, and then that allows you all this freedom. For me, I don't know that I would phrase it that exact way, because especially as my career went on, it really became more about putting me in the character, which I think most genuine, really talented actors do. Some people have different styles, but I think the theater is a space where you say, like, you can't make a mistake, you're just trying things out, throw it at the wall, see what sticks. It's just an encouraged space of being big. And not that I was forced to be small in my life, but I was never introduced to an area where they encourage you to be loud, to dance around and play and be silly and speak and jump and move. So I think it was almost just like you let a kid loose on a playground and they've never seen like a swing set before, and they're like, well, that looks really fun. I'm going to try it. And I've never verbalized it that way, but that's sort of what it felt like for me. Definitely as an introvert, it breaks people open in different ways, and it's a really beautiful thing.
I love that. Thank you very much. That's it's you said, putting more of yourself into your role. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, we have to ask, how much of you is present in the character of Lingsha?
Yeah. Oh, this is fun. You want to know the full story?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I get the audition from my agency, and you get your specs for a character, right? And they say, this is sort of what they're like. Sometimes you get a picture, sometimes you don't. Sometimes there's a voice idea for them. It's just ideas, right? And then you have dialogue. And so I was recording for a whole bunch of different characters, seeing what fit. Lingsha, my interpretation of her dialogue didn't fit with what I mentally got from the details of her character that were written out. I felt like I was coming up with something that was sort of off kilter from what they were asking for. But it felt really good. It felt natural. And I really banked on the whole idea of she has a job that requires high performance. People's lives are on the line. She's a healer. She's the leader of all of these organizations. And yet things get in her way, and she has to stop what she's doing and go and attend to your problem. And that's where she came out, because I understood that. I'm like, when I want to get a task done, I'm very task-oriented. If something pulls me away, and I promise I'm working on it, world, but when something pulls me away from a task that I'm working on, my hackles just raise, and murder is on the mind because I have a task. So that's where Lingsha came in. And again, it didn't necessarily fit what they asked for in her. It did say, like, she has a lot of emotion, but she keeps her cool. But it felt very much just inspired by, this dialogue fits right and feels right in my mouth and coming out of my vocal cords with this intention behind it. And so I sent it off and thought, I don't think it's going to be it, but it was real fun. And then I got cast, and it was amazing.
I love how that's such a common thread. Everyone's just like, hey, I just kind of rolled the dice. This is what I put out there. And then they were like, oh, no, that's it. You were like, really? Okay. All right.
Like, I won't question it. Okay. Right. But I didn't see that coming. Yeah. And I think it's because when you're taken by such a gut instinct, it means it's original. It means it's authentic. And that often results in it being compelling, too. And that's what casting directors, I think, are looking for. I hear that story a lot from fellow actors.
I love it. Now, are you yourself, do you play the game?
I have not begun it yet. But I've watched footage of it from great YouTubers. And I intend to play it. I intend to. We'll see. with a baby on the way, I'm not sure if I'm going to have more time or less time. If I'm going to be sitting around and able to play video games.
Both.
Or completely both? Okay, great. Perfect.
So when
I have it from an expert.
So both times my wife was pregnant, it was varied experiences, right? Now with twins, it was different. So our son, when he was a very I'll sleep during the night all the way through type baby, right? But very active during the day. But twins, it was different. We had, and this was even in the womb. My wife was like, there's one girl kicking around during the day and the other one is kicking around during the night. So she had no idea what she wanted to do or how she would approach it. So
no,
you're either going to have a lot of time because you'll get your day sleeping babies and you have to learn to be nocturnal, or it's going to be vice versa.
We'll see.
I'm hoping, whatever works best for you, but it's going to be awesome. You're going to have such a good time.
I'm very excited. And I'm super blessed because, to a point, I'll have to stop for a minute, but be able to be home and raise my kid and also do voice acting, something that I never thought I would get being a theater actor. You don't get that. So, pretty excited. I have a pretty blessed life.
Now, I'm finding a lot of people coming from like the theater side or moving into the realm of voice acting. Are there some like key elements to that style of acting that you think translates so well to just the vocal art?
Yeah. I'd say, imagination's the name of the game, right? For any acting. A theater, even more so because, you're not surrounded by four walls. You got an audience in front of you and you don't have necessarily a real life prop. You might have something that's made to look like something else, so you have to imbue it with realism. And then in a booth, you don't have anything as yourself. So you also have to make up in your mind what you're holding or where you're at. So I think that does translate well. And I would say I think I'm finding in voice acting, number one, you can be a broad range of characters. So to have that creativity in you to play things that don't look like you, I feel like that is common in a lot of theater actors. And and just the imagination. And I do feel like, especially animations and certain types of video games are a little more heightened. They're not super grounded realism that feel more like film, especially like Honkai and JRPGs and stuff. There's a little bit more energy and stereotypes to them or archetypes to them. So theater actors can reach that level, but hopefully they can also hit that really grounded space of a Last of Us game or something like that. So we can sort of span the gamut. I think that's one of the reasons we fall into this work often.
I like it. Now, what is some advice you may have for someone they're like, hey, I'm just getting started. I have no idea where to begin.
Yeah. If you can start in theater, that's great. Sometimes that's more accessible if you have a community set up to join. And it gets you moving in your body and actually learning to, the body's everything. If you can engage your body, it's easier to do on a stage when you can run the length of the stage in a scene. And then you can bring that into the booth with you once you've practiced it in the outside world, I guess. And then that website that I mentioned, Skills Hub, is really, it's the best resource out there for voice actors because you can talk to people from any sector of the industry for any amount of time. And you can just talk to them, or you can read a script with them and they can direct you, or you can plan your future with them. That website has resources to be able to help you with anything.
Well, I want you to know this entire podcast is just an elaborate production to get like a bunch of advice for voice acting. So that's my secret.
I love it. It's a great, entertaining way to do it. You do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you. Now, I'm hearing, there are a lot of different game properties that you've mentioned. Is there a particular world or verse you would like to step into and say, hey, I'm here. Here's my take on this character, or my take on just how I would embrace this world?
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. The games that I typically play are very story driven, so things like Dragon Age and Mass Effect really have my heart. Stories where you're given choice, where you can choose your path through the world. Specifically, like Last of Us is a great story, and you can choose things, but like the BioWare games give you a little bit more branching. But I also love Assassin's Creed and how they bring history into the picture. And then I love Borderlands because it's hilarious, and sometimes you do just want to shoot things and not do anything much more complicated than that. And another favorite is, have you played the BioShock games?
No, but I've always wanted to. I know I'm going to get hate in the comments. I know.
No, nobody throw shade. And the first two were scary. I honestly couldn't play them. I had to watch playthroughs of them because I would freak myself out if I played them in the dark. And then BioShock Infinite, they're this cool blend of like the crazy and weird, but also like, especially BioShock Infinite, the last one, has really cool dynamic between its characters and deals with heavy issues too.
Okay.
And ideas. So I think those are biggies. And The Witcher, and there's other ones, and
If you like choice-based games, there is one that really impacted me in such a great way. Telltale Batman was.
Oh, I haven't played that one.
It was so good. It was so good, and it was such an interesting take on the character. Now, me, I'm normally a nice everyday person, but my Batman in that game was brutal. He was not a nice guy. And Commissioner Gordon was fed up with my crap. But
you just got to let a different side of you out.
Oh,
just so cool, right?
Yes.
You can do that.
And Detroit Become Human. Please play Detroit Become Human.
Oh, I've heard a lot about that one too.
It was so good. Oh, it was so good. And I'm sorry, I'm just fanboying really quick.
No, this is great.
You get to approach the game from like three different perspectives. You get one guy, it's about robots who've become sentient and they're kind of over the life of servitude. So you get one robot who's out there to hunt the other robots, right? And then you get another one, she's just trying to survive and help others like her survive. And then you get another guy who's just like, I was nice until this thing has happened. Now everyone's going to, you're either with me or against me. And seeing how it's a masterpiece that I started one day on stream and I was like, oh, my viewership's not, when you play story driven games, your viewership can go up or down depending, because people are like, I want to play it for myself, which I get.
Oh, interesting. Versus what kind of games do your streams sort of stay steady with?
Like action oriented games.
Just, where it's like this is going to happen if I play it or someone else plays it.
Like big number brain rot games, and I say that to be funny, but it's like, oh, big number, and we have fun with that. But like those really nuanced story-based games, I highly recommend checking that out. Just take some time. It's one of those games I feel like it'll change your life, and you get stories like that, and I absolutely love it.
And video games, again, I love theater, I love animation and all that jazz, but video games, because you are in control, that impact that it has, that's one of the reasons that I love voice acting. Yes. You get to put yourself in the world. Yes, you can empathize with a character on screen in a film or something, but when you have to click the A button to do this to somebody, you go, wow, can I do this? You have to have a little emotional dilemma when you make your choices. Now, I love the Telltale games too. That's a good. I haven't played Batman.
I do have to ask. You come off as a very sweet person, right? And I'm quite certain you are.
Thank you.
But there are certain things you've said along the way. I think there might be a villain in there waiting to be played. Is that true?
There could be. There could be. Yeah. if I was, especially if it were a villain that had, like you were talking about that character in Detroit, that like something happened to him and he switched. So, which is usually the case for any villain, right? Something compels them to change and become evil mastermind or whatever. I think especially if a character had a turning point that was specifically felt personal to me, that would make them very meaningful to play. But you're right, though. I struggle with being mean. I'm not mean in my video games that I make choices in. I choose to save everybody and be nice and try and calm the tension. And
I'm like, why am I being so empathetic to the fictional character?
Because we're trained as humans, right? Like,
yes.
We do want to be loved, especially in a fictional world where you can be the hero and you can sort of tell, like, I choose to be nice, and I feel like the game's going to make this better. Like, it's going to make it turn out for good. Games are getting a little more morally gray, I feel like, too. So sometimes even if you make the good choice, things don't happen. But if you're playing a hero, especially, and you can put your heroic nature to the test and be nice and be good, I think we want to do that as humans. Generally, we want to be the good guy. And other stuff gets in the way and makes us messy. But hero stories are, I think, incredibly powerful. And as cool as it is to see media start to blend black and white and good guy and bad guy, I really hope hero stories stick around forever because they're inspiring. We need them.
What 100%? Like growing up, I've always been a big fan of Superman. Superman is Mr. Where I have to do it not only for my not for myself but for the betterment of others. And but I want to say with these not streams, but with these podcasts, I try not to script them out. Right? I want to try something a little bit different,
natural,
right off the cuff. So we just spoke about heroes and villains. And I want to ask you about, I can't remember exactly where I got this quote or this thought from, but the hero is someone who wants to make sure that bad thing does not happen to anyone else. The villain wants to make sure that bad thing does not happen again to them. What is your take on that thought process?
That's brilliant. Where is that quote from? Are you being sly? You made it up on your own, didn't you? You're brilliant.
I wish I could take credit for it, but I don't remember where it came from, and I don't want to take credit just in case.
We'll leave it to the open. Someone can comment who said that. I think you're right, though. It's totally right. Heroes are brave, right? That's sort of, those two words just go together. They're brave, they're courageous, because it's often harder to fend for others, and it's often easier to fend for yourself. To put it.
That is very true.
There's nuance to that. There's nuance to it, but to stand up for someone else, often a little bit more difficult and cause more fear than it would be to just like speak up for your own self and say, hey, what you're saying about me isn't true. But to say, hey, no, that person, you may be bashing on them. I'm over here, but I'm going to say, I know them, I know their character, and they are a good person. That puts you at risk that wasn't necessary.
Yes.
Technically. But that's where the heroic bravery and courage comes. I'm going to keep that quote of yours. That's right.
It is all yours, and I honestly don't know where that came from. But I'm really enjoying this. Let me ask, what are 3 things that makes someone a good actor? Like, what are the 3 things that you would say, this is what you need to bring to the table, or what I believe you should bring to the table?
Having watched your other videos, I knew this question was coming, and I still don't have a perfect
research
answer.
On me, yes.
They're really fun. I got sucked in. May use simple words here, but they're not simple things. They're hard to master. Joy is a big thing for actors. Authenticity / being in the moment. I'll put those in the same too. And wish I had a better word for this, but a type of knowledge or intellect. Crispin Freeman talks about this a lot. Do you know Crispin Freeman?
No.
He's a big voice actor. Lots and lots of things. Great gentleman. He talks a lot about being familiar with media. Books, films, movies, games, animations, series. Like anything that is great and has stood the test of time. Star Wars, for example. If you're going to be in the entertainment realm, you need to know Star Wars, and you need to know Hamlet, and you should probably know The Last of Us, because that's how you can look at a story and number one, learn acting through those actors who've been in those great projects. That can teach you a lot. But then you see story structure, and you see character archetypes, and you just get to see how the world plays out a little bit more, and it expands your knowledge. Because as actors, people often say, well, your lived experience is rich for you to pull from as an actor. We don't experience everything. I've not been through a zombie apocalypse. But I could watch The Last of Us, or, play through The Last of Us and get some of that in me. Or you could watch something that wasn't exactly related, not a zombie apocalypse, but some other stirring, traumatic event. And it gives you an idea of things that you haven't lived yourself. The joy, finding joy in it, just unhindered, completely free joy. And what's the second? Authenticity in the moment. So being able to root in yourself. And then number 3, having a great cache of knowledge to pull from the story.
I love that. It's
Were those good? Did
yes.
I ace the question?
Listen, it's be happy in what you do. Be true to who you are in what you do. And then 3, be a student of the game. No matter what you're in, being a student of the game is so important. And
Well put.
No, that's from you. I'm a big advocate of, it may not necessarily be my realm or my arena, but what can I learn from this? And being able to pull from like different things, like I'll watch a talk show host, right? And I'll say, okay, that guy's not a streamer, but what is he doing to draw people in? How is he engaging the audience? How can I pull that to my side of things?
Good on you.
I'm trying. I'm
studying up. That's amazing.
I'm big into professional wrestling. So it's not that I play a character on stream. I'm pretty true to who I am. But how can I think the best wrestlers are those who make bigger, bolder versions of themselves, like The Rock. I feel like, I don't know if you're into wrestling, but you get Dwayne Johnson and then The Rock. The Rock is really an exaggerated version of Dwayne Johnson. The ego was bigger. He brings out the sunglasses, which I don't wear as a gimmick. My eyes are cooked. But my eyes hate light. They hate every light known to man. But
bummer, man. Well, you just get to look cool. It works out great.
my brother calls me Blade, and he doesn't do it in the nicest way, so I've made peace with that. But
that's it. It's a cool part of your character.
Yes.
I like it.
But that was so
That's
cool.
Interesting.
Now that we're talking, there's one thing I do have to ask. When you're performing the role of Lingsha, you have such a unique way of speaking through her. It's very clear and distinct, but it's very like hurried. Was that a you choice or was that a direction choice?
Both. Both, I would say. I definitely will, just for fun or for like little cameos and stuff, speak as Lingsha, but it's just on my own without my directors. And I'm like, I want my directors around because they'll set the scene for you, would encourage you in the right direction. But it also came from me and as well in terms of like I said, she wants to get this done because she needs to get back to work, and then that needs to happen. So take care of your own business. It's definitely fed by her almost anxious energy, and to just need to get back to work. So it's shared. But the directors, Kal-El and Phil, are phenomenal. They were, I knew Honkai, I hadn't played it, but I knew it, and as a voice actor who's auditioning for things, hoped it would come across my inbox one day. And it was partially because I wanted to work with them. Love the game itself too, but I, especially Phil had done like a feedback class with him and heard about him and was like, that man knows what he's doing. I want to work with him. I want to know what I can learn from him. I want to collaborate with him. And so he really helped me in the first session fully flesh out Lingsha and help me carry her into the further releases and other recording sessions.
Well, that is awesome. I really do appreciate you sharing your time, sharing your insights. I feel like, we learned a fair amount about you, your approach to acting, and then we also got into the philosophical. So thank you very much for indulging.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for encouraging and making the setup for it. No, this has been fabulous. You really run a great channel. And I think I said this off the string, but it's fun for us actors to get to hear from our fellow castmates through your YouTube channel because we don't see each other otherwise. So I'm going to be watching more of your videos.
Well, thank you so much. And if you ever want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome. We can discuss a litany of things.
Anytime. You let me know.
Now, where can we, the House of Hounds, find you online? How can we learn more about you?
My website is out there in the world for people. It's what is it? Is it Whitney Holland? Yeah, it's just Whitney-Holland. So I was like, it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And then X is where I primarily use social media, especially in terms of voiceover. So that's where you can see more things that I'm in that are releasing. And on there, I'm Whitney D, as in dog, Whitney D. Holland.
All right. Well, I'm going to make sure I link everything down below. But at the end of the day, once again, you have sat down with greatness. Make sure you give her a follow, show her all the love she deserves. And as always, guys, stay fierce. I'm sorry, my cat is like, hold on. My cat is like having a freak out up there. What is going on right now?
Stay fierce and the rest is a mystery.
Keep gaming and welcome to the House of Hounds. We're out. I'm going to leave this in. What is going on up there?
Where is the cat? Is he up?
We're still recording. I'm going to leave this in. Okay, the young one is here. Come here.
One.
This is Mona. Oh, Mona ran. She got it. And Sinister. And Sinister is like 80 in cat years, so that couldn't have been her.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on.
Cute. Funny.
But I'm so sorry.
Oh, that was awesome.
I was
like
trying.
Your whole setup is amazing behind you.
Well, thank you. This is a labor of love. I've really, my setup and we're still going. I'm perfectly fine with this. I love this. There's construction going on over here, but I went from having like 2 giant TVs and like a folding chair that I'm streaming in, into now having like a dedicated space, and I get to add personality and the things that I love. So I'm so happy about it.
Cool. Yeah, and that facial print must be new because she's new.
Oh, well, thank you.
I love it.
Facial's awesome.
She's incredible. Amazing. All these characters. They just do a wonderful job. And I think they're all heroes in their own right, which is cool. I think a lot of Chinese and Japanese are more in that still, where the hero. There's a lot of detail, but there's heroicness in all of them.
Well, let me ask you. I know we're all over the place. My ADHD is very present right now, and I'm okay with this. But are you Marvel or DC?
Marvel or DC?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ooh. I don't know. I fell into all the Marvel movies as they were coming out in the early years,
That's okay.
and now I've sort of fallen off the train. So for some reason, I sort of, even though I don't know as much about it, I think I lean DC, actually.
Okay.
DC is darker in some ways.
See, that's what I'm saying. there's a grittiness to you. Like
And I do like it. I know I keep saying heroes and be happy and a nice person, but I do like the dark. Really fun. I mean, my favorite Marvel character was Loki, so I do like the bad guy.
Okay. See, I'm telling you, we're gonna see you play this like crazy, dastardly villain. I'm like, I knew it. I'll be sitting eating popcorn like I knew it.
I do like playing, and I've been cast many times as the crazy one. It's like the insane one, so it could be a crazy villain, like a Harley Quinn style.
Okay.
That could definitely happen, actually.
Is there anything freeing in that?
Oh yeah, it's fun. And it's scary too. I feel like the crazies. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into philosophy and psychology. But the crazies, quote unquote. I do have anxiety and depression, and like most of us have now. But I can really tap into it, and that's where it goes haywire and goes crazy. So that is really cathartic and vulnerable to be those types of characters, because it's a tapping into a very specific part of me that I'm very familiar with, and I faced it and I've grown through it. But those characters that can go unhinged and fly off the handle, they're coming from a real place. I think for all of us, we just don't know it all the time that we have that in us.
Oh, listen, I've told my wife many a time. I was like, babe, everyone's weird. Everyone is weird. She's like, why would you say that? I was like, no, everyone is weird.
We are.
Just we show people the less weird versions of ourselves. But like, if you see people in their downtime, in their house, they're doing something weird. And
They got their quirks.
yes.
They do.
And one day I would just like to be in a world, I mean, craziness aside, but where people, we just got to see the most real, bare elements of each other. I wonder what that world would look like.
Said we wouldn't be self-conscious at all anymore.
Right.
We go, oh, you're just as funky as me.
Right.
all like social self-consciousness would go away. It's gone.
Yes, because I feel like we're always trying to see how others are perceiving ourselves, and I'm just like, if everyone was just like, this is me, just deal.
I think the world's moving in that direction, at least in America. I don't think in a lot of other countries, maybe the UK and stuff. But a lot of other countries are very, nope, my image is everything. And America's sort of becoming like, there's more to my image than you thought.
Well, we got to fine tune it, because I feel like shame needs to come back 2024. There's difference.
A little bit. There's a difference being you, and there's a difference. Yeah.
Because
I feel like I should hold my words.
if you scroll Twitter, sometimes I'm just like, there's no way that's there. But I'm so sorry. We could go on forever.
I agree with you.
But I appreciate
This is super fun. Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you. This really has been really fun. I can tell you study talk show hosts and stuff, because you are able to facilitate this in such a beautiful way. It's really impressive.
Thank you. I'm hoping to, evolve the concept and just, make things more enjoyable for you guys, and just find other ways just to shine that spotlight. Because I tell people all the time, Honkai Star Rail, I really feel like changed my life. She's probably tired of me bringing this up, but Rachel Chow, she's been a major part of that, and she's the whole reason this whole thing started. So just thank you guys so much. Oh yeah, she took a chance to sit down and talk with me. It's just been phenomenal ever since.
Oh, cool. Oh, well, no, I think I'm glad she did, so that it could set you off on talking with the rest of us too.
Well, thank you. Please enjoy your day. I'm going to go help my son finish his homework.
What are your kiddos?
Take care.